What's up, guys? Happy post Superbowl Monday. Monday morning. If we get some Monday morning quarterbacking out here, um, I'm gonna come up with another pivot. But first, congratulations to the Eagles. That was a masterful, dominant performance, two ways. The Eagles defense. I pretty much called in the Eagles blowout. Definitely had them winning. This was probably the worst version of the Chiefs in the past 3 years, but they made it. They made it there regardless. The Chiefs, at the end of the day, they are a dynasty in the making. To basically own the AFC the way they do, and you're talking about 3-2. Basically, in the past 6-7 years, they've been in seven, 8 years. It got to be at the most 8. It's about 7 years, I believe, they've been in the Super Bowl. They've won 3. This is very similar to the situation with Brady and the Patriots. So congratulations. Saquon wasn't even dominant. Saquon did do his thing a little bit. Drew a lot of attention. Got a lot of people open. Jalen Hurts, a well-deserved Super Bowl MVP. Well-deserved. And that was, wasn't a great game. It was a great performance. It was a great performance by the Eagles. It's one of those things. Patrick Mahomes is great as much as I love him. All right, there's certain guys that, look, it's easy for me to say when you're facing the pressure, because I'm gonna segue this into my guy, who I believe got snugged for the Hall of Fame, but I'm not tripping about that. He'll get there eventually. But Eli Manning, in his runs to the Super Bowl, took a lot. And I'm not saying Eli Manning is any way as good as Patrick Mahomes. And obviously, I wanted the Giants. Patrick Mahomes was one of the guys that I was looking at in the post-Eli era. It just so happened we made the playoffs that year, so we wouldn't have been in position to draft him. And the other year, we would have been in position to draft him. Unfortunately, and we went to the Daniel Jones era. I'll hold my thoughts on the Daniel Jones situation. But so I want to get into a certain thing because this kind of comes. See, it's a pivot, and I do basketball, and here I am talking about the Super Bowl. Obviously, you got to talk about the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl halftime performance. And this is why I'm pivoting into. I'm not going to talk too much hip hop on my channel. I think there are guys that do it better. I know my little something. I've grew up enough in hip hop. I've been around enough hip hop to have a perspective, but it's not my area of expertise. I'm not one of those music heads like that. I'm more of a sports head than I am a music head. But of course, I dip and dabble in the music. But we watch what was a sport this year, right? You watch what was a sport. It pretty much commenced. It commenced from Drake's First Person Shooter, which I think was a classic track. Great job by Drake. Great job by Cole. There was some shots taken at Kenny. If you didn't catch him, again, that's one thing that Drake was good at at the subtle shots over the years with his Cold War with Kendrick Lamar. And so, like that verse pretty much was the declaration of war. The first offense and the declaration of war. So we had what we had is one of the greatest hip hop battles of all time, and you pretty much got out of it damn near an hour's worth of material if you really kind of listen to it in sequence, right? So I just kind of want to, because I'm having a discussion with my boy D-Lo from the Go, about the situation, and we really hadn't chopped it up. He's not on Facebook no more. We can only chop it up on Instagram and through the DMs. So yeah, we're kind of talking about things, and I see his channel, and he's giving me a lot of encouragement and material to do my channel. So shout out to you, D-Lo. I hope to get the podcast up this week, and like I said, you're welcome to come through. But the Drake situation. All right, so last night, again, Kendrick Lamar pretty much, say what you want about the performance. I thought it was a good performance, right? If the whole crowd wasn't into it, I mean, okay, I'm not sure his music is for most of those people. There's probably a few thousand to 10,000 people in that audience that knew what was going on. And most of them probably don't know Drake or Kendrick Lamar of that Super Bowl corporate crowd. So, say what you want. Say what you want. Obviously, Kendrick is not Michael Jackson. He's not Prince. He doesn't have enough of those radio crossing the genres hits. He has a few that probably most people heard, like All the Stars from the Black Panther soundtrack. I thought SZA coming out, that was his one guess. SZA, did a great job. And Kenny did a great job. You had Serena up there crip walking, right? So, I just want to revisit real quickly because I really haven't spoken about it publicly. I pretty much followed everything. I would listen to every track over and over again. I listened to the tracks, and like I said, you can get a whole album's worth of material just if you play the diss tracks or the responses and everything in chronological order. You can pretty much get an album worth of material right there, even if you include the Rick Ross jump in and everybody at Metro doing BBL Drizzy. It was just a classic situation. And I cut, I'm telling D-Lo my take on it. Like I said, we haven't had a chance to talk about this beef, and I haven't had to talk to not too many hip hop heads, even the hip hop groups that I'm in, kind of really, once after like a week after the track dropped, pretty much stopped talking about it, right? So each individual track, and we know the history and we know what happened, right? So we know, there's still guys that believe that Drake lost. I think most 99%. You still got this 1% of Drake stand that's like the freaking Japanese on the islands during World War II that didn't get the message that the war is over and Japan lost. You still got a couple of Drake fans stands out on them islands. I just want to kind of get into why Drake lost and how he lost. Let's take this angle. A lot of people say that it was set up for Drake to lose. Like Drake was in a no-win situation. And I don't agree with that. I do believe he was up against it, but I believe he got arrogant and overconfident. And that was pretty much his demise. That was his downfall. The fact that he